Hey, Andre, we just sold our Tesla Model 3 Performance, and man, did we lose a lot of money.
And we only owned it for 1 year, basically.
Exactly. And in this video, we're going to tell you our story, but it's not just our story, it's also everybody's else's story that ended up buying a Tesla over the last several years and riding the roller coaster into the toilet.
And Tesla Model 3s and Model Ys are some of the most popular vehicles actually in the world.
Let's start with our story. So on March 23rd of 2023, we paid the pricely sum of $57,308 for a Tesla Model 3 Performance. Why did we buy it, Andre?
I am super excited because, well, anytime you get to get a new car and pick it up, it's a day you will remember for the rest of your life. And today I think I'll remember this day because we just bought, as you can tell, a new Tesla. And we bought this one in resale red. I'm just a sucker for red, Tommy. Tell them what we bought and why we bought it.
Super excited too, Dad. This is such a fun day because we are taking delivery of our 2023 Tesla Model 3. And we gotta answer the big question out of the gate, right? This car came out in 2018. We're going in through 2023. Why did we get a car that's 5 years old?
Well, first of all, it's not 5 years old. It's a 2023, and it has a lot of new stuff since we owned our last Model 3. So I'm curious to find out, how much it's improved and how much they've improved the software. But more importantly, this car is still kind of the go-to standard for electric cars.
Well, because we wanted to go across country. Well, no.
Yes, that's exactly right. We wanted to do a cannonball.
Yeah,
which we did.
Which the image behind us, you can see our D2D car. But we also want to be, we want to own vehicles every year and test them properly. And this is what we did.
Between the Tesla planner in the car and on the app,
yes,
it ranges between like 38 and 42 hours.
Turn off karaoke. This is serious business, Tommy.
252 kilowatts, that's right. I feel like I could take down a MiG-22 right now.
If we go into El Paso, it says control your speed, stay below 70 miles per hour to reach your destination. So it thinks we're using too much energy, basically.
75 miles an hour, and now we are completely stopped.
Because we've been here for over an hour and nobody has moved and that exit looks to be closed, it potentially means something really awful has happened. It's really not a good thing.
Went to bed in Texas and we woke up in Texas and it just never ends. I think we're close to beating the record. I know your calculations say we're not. My calculations say we're right on the money. So even with that 2-hour delay, I think we still might take victory today.
Okay, let's do it.
And we wanted to actually create this thing called the DDD Cannonball, which is a test for electric vehicles. So Nathan and I had driven across country from Disney to Disney, from California to Florida in a Hyundai, I almost said it the European way, Hyundai Ioniq 5.
Yep.
And then we set a record time and you broke it. You remember what your time was?
Yeah, so you set a record of, 46-ish hours or so?
Yep.
And Tommy and I, and of course Cole was involved in all of these cross-country trips. We thought that the Tesla charging network is so much better, right, than any other network that we could beat it. And we did at about 45 hours and 40 minutes.
So we sold our Tesla Model 3 with about 17,000 miles.
Which is a lot.
Which is a lot. We had it for a year. Well, it's not only 5,000 more than the average over the price of a year. And we took a bath on it. So the question we're going to answer here is, why has the bottom fallen out of the used Tesla market? So let's kind of give some background. When the Tesla Model 3 first launched in 2018, the model performance started at 65,200. Regular Model 3s range between 46,000 for the single motor version and 50,000 for the dual motor long range.
Yeah, and Model 3, other companies like Rivian, they're just about to come out with a smaller version of their R2 vehicle. They're calling their moment the Model 3 moment. I mean, that moment back in 2018 was huge because it basically brought the price down of that car, but still it was pricey.
Yes, it was very pricey.
Yeah.
And quickly it became less so. So in 2023, Tesla repeatedly dropped new car prices as it fell short in delivery targets. So at the end of every quarter, Mr. Musk would come out there and would say, hey, we need to juice our sales.
Yes.
And the price would drop. In fact, in January of 2023, Tesla dropped prices across the entire lineup by up to 20%. The Model 3 at that point saw a $3,000 price cut. And that's just the start. Tesla cut entry-level Model 3 prices by another $2,000 in April. Then it dropped every few weeks throughout the summer into August, adding up to 4,000 in total cuts. Then again in October by another 1,250.
So when you do this, 3 plus 2 plus 4,000 plus $1,200, and this is on a brand new car, you're hurting the used market, right? Because the used market has to kind of match that, right? And also slide down.
Well, also you're hurting the customers who bought your
Just
car.
just bought it.
You feel like, you're bending over and, getting really, what? Because you just bought the car and a few months later,
It's way less now.
it's way less.
Yeah.
So the upshot, the entry level 3 price, the entry level Model 3 price that started at $46,900 at the beginning of the year fell to $38,990 by the end of 2023. Andre.
Yeah.
The price drop wasn't exactly linear as prices fluctuated back and forth and actually went up a couple times throughout the year. But the overall trend resulted in a 20% drop for the Model 3 and even greater for the more expensive cars like the Model X and the Model S.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, Model X Plaids and Model S Plaids that started out way above like $120,000 are now like almost $85,000 now.
But then we really got a second kick in the because then along came Hertz.
Thanks, you rental company.
And Hertz announced in early January
And that hurts.
that it would liquidate 20,000 EVs, most of them being Teslas. This came after it ordered 100,000 EVs to be built out of its all-electric rental fleet. So the decision resulted in a glut of used Teslas entering the market. Right now, Hertz has 716 Teslas listed on sale on its site. A lot of those have already been sold, not the ones that are listed, but the ones that they put out. Cars with under 30,000 miles, it costs $38,990 to buy, and new are up for sale through Hertz for $10,000 less. Used examples are available for around $28,000.
So I looked at this, Roman,
Yes.
actually back in January when you and I were talking about this. A lot of these rental Teslas had a lot of miles.
Yes.
So some of them had the 80,000 miles, some 90,000.
Yeah, I saw one. I was on Hertz's website. I saw one in Denver for like 22,000 with 99,000 miles on them.
Yeah, but I don't know if I would jump on top of that. I mean, 100,000 miles almost for a used Model 3. I'm now worried about reliability, many different things. How was it used? Was it like beat up every day by a rental person?
Yeah, how much old orange juice is spilled in between the seats?
And chocolates? How many chocolates?
How much sand is in the footwells?
Yeah.
The usual stuff that people do to rent
But
cars.
still, what basically happened to Hertz, some of these cars are expensive to fix and maintain, right? If you crash a Tesla, the cost of fixing it may be pretty high. So they weren't making much money on their rentals, so they dumped a bunch of cars.
So what about the performance, which was our model, of course? It's
Yes.
basically, so the Tesla Model 3 performance is almost identical to the Tesla Model 3. What it does, it gives you more horsepower, red brake calipers, a little like carbon fiber spoiler, and better, suspension
But
to
the
it.
acceleration is pretty great because we've drag raced it many times,
Yes.
right? And it's hard to beat. I mean, what is it? Under 4 seconds, 0 to 60, right?
Oh, much more. Yeah, I think it was 3.6 seconds
Yeah.
officially. But by looking at it, it looks
It
very,
doesn't look special.
like if 3 Tesla Model 3s drove down the street and one was a performance, most people, I would wager, wouldn't know the difference.
It's the enthusiast that might notice.
Yeah, we were just at the auction yesterday and we saw an Audi RS5.
Yes.
And man, you could tell that's a special car.
Yeah, it's got bulging fenders, giant exhaust pipes on the back of it. It just looks menacing.
Yeah,
right?
the Model 3 performance looks too similar to the Model 3. But anyway, at the end of 2023, a brand new performance had an MSRP of $50,990. Remember, we paid $57,380 in March. Now, used 23 examples are commanding a price tag of between $41,000 and $45,000, with between 10,000 and 17,000 miles on them. That's retail pricing, so dealer profits do not factor into these prices. If you go and sell your Model 3 like we did, and here's the drum roll, Andre,
So what did we get for our car?
we sold ours for $36,500.
Wait a minute. We bought it for 57,
Yes, and we won it for 36. We lost about
That's-
$20,000 on the car.
almost 21,000
Yeah, exactly.
in 1 year.
Yeah. Ouch.
Yeah, that's a big ouch.
Yeah, so most cars will depreciate in the first 3 years. That's between 3 to 5 years. That's when they see a lot of depreciation,
And then they kind of flat.
yeah, it's
flatten
anywhere
out
up to 50%. We hit that number
very quickly
in the first year. Yeah.
Actually, under a year.
So
Really.
basically, the Model 3 Performance lost more than a third of its value. We sold it to a broker who ended up consigning it through a dealer auto auction of the Rockies. And by the way, it's being actually sold today.
Yeah, and
We'll let you know.
yeah, we'll take a look at the results and see what it sells for actually to the dealer.
But we're thinking it'll probably sell for around 40,000. So the consignor probably made 4,000. We don't know. That's what we're guessing.
We don't know.
We don't know.
But we also got other offers because we've been shopping our car. We were done basically with it, right? We've done many videos with it. We wanted to sell it, and somebody offered us. Was it Tesla themselves? We tried to trade it in.
Yeah, because we
at
have a Cybertruck coming. Yeah. So
Yeah.
how much did Tesla offer us for
So
it?
like 31,000 or something, and then that was the real like punch in the gut, right?
Yeah, and you guys may be wondering, why are we kind of basically wholesaling it? And the reason for that is, we aren't in the business of selling cars
Or
in the
buying
business-
cars.
Or buying cars. We're in the business of making videos. So for us, to move it on quickly is worth losing money. Not this much money, but normally, once we're done with a car, we sometimes sell it to our viewers. We actually said we were selling it. Nobody was interested in it. So in the end, we just kind of gave up and said, well,
Or sometimes one of us from our company buys it.
Yeah. And now for the bad news, Andre, because this is not
More
just
bad news?
There's more bad news. Yeah. It's not just us. It's an epidemic in the entire EV market right now because there's a strong headwind blowing against EVs. So you're seeing a lot of EVs on the market. So you'll see reports that the market is cooling down, that there is no pent-up demand to keep the market going. There's more competition in the space. Several automakers, of course, are cutting prices like Tesla and competing for smaller market pool or just cuts production because of slowing demand. However, on the flip side, Andre, it's a great time to buy an EV.
Exactly.
Not us.
So-
unless you're buying a Cybertruck.
Actually, it's a good time to buy a used vehicle,
Yeah.
right? Especially a little bit later in the spring when the summer really kicks on. It could be a really great time to buy a used EV.
You'll end up saving quite a bit versus MSRP we saw in 2021 or 2022. However, there's one caveat, and that is interest rates are higher right now, as I'm sure you guys know. And as price continue to drop, if you finance, you're probably going to have to keep it. Otherwise, you might end up losing your shirt like we did.
Well, you have your shirt.
I have my TFL shirt, or maybe you could trade it. But we tried that. So what's the takeaway from this, Andre?
Well, remember how during COVID, you would buy a desirable vehicle like a pickup truck,
Yes.
and then you could sell it for the same value. Those days, I think, are over.
Yes.
And especially, you could see it amplified in the electric market. And so those Cybertrucks that are now selling for $240,000 reselling, I think that value might deflate very quickly.
Yeah, there was just a story this week that somebody bought and resold a Cybertruck for twice what they paid for it.
Yeah.
So you might be wondering, why are we still buying a Cybertruck if we kind of feel like Tesla left a bad taste in our mouth?
Well, we're not sure.
We're not sure, because Andre put an order in on one when the thing was unveiled. We're supposed to, we have a reservation for it. We have put a $1,000 deposit on it.
We went through all the kind of checks on the app.
Yeah, and the reason we're buying it is because our job, as you know, with like the recent Tacoma video, is to test trucks and to review trucks. If I was a normal buyer for myself, I'd probably think twice and probably would walk away from that reservation. The other thing that, of course, Tesla is doing right now, which is also a little painful, is, there's no set number of foundation series. So I think actually what's happened is Tesla is going to try to convert everybody they can into a foundation series.
And make 20 grand on each person.
Yeah, so in reality, the Cybertruck is no longer 80,000. It's really 100,000. And if you get the Cyber Beast, it's really 120,000. Let's call it what it is, right? This is a price increase of 20,000. And they kind of camouflaged it by calling it a foundation series. But what they really did was just jack the price up by 20K. It was very smart, but also, a land grab.
But it's worse than that, Roman.
Is it?
I remember I went out to California to a great friend who let us borrow his truck for about a day. And we did many videos together. His channel is butter_EV. And the biggest thing about that foundation series was full self-driving.
Which you don't get.
Which you don't get.
Locking diff.
Don't get.
You don't get.
So you pay 20 grand extra, and a lot of those features you don't get.
Yeah, and also the Foundation series, since it's now being built exclusively as the news truck, there's nothing special. Just I would have been happier if Tesla had just said, you know what, we're going to increase the price to $100,000 and call. I would have felt that would have been much more honest. And I like when people are honest with me and not try to play these games. Well, we're doing this, Foundation
Special
series.
series.
Then we may make only 1,000, or we may make 50,000 of them. We don't know. And of course, the answer to that is they're going to build 50,000 and get as much money as possible.
And also, they're not communicating with us very well.
No, there's no.
The app is still in the same state from 4 months ago. We don't have no idea when our truck might be coming.
Yeah, and I don't want this to sound like, we're TFL, so we deserve special treatment. I think the great thing about that is we're not getting special treatment, and so we're being treated the way a typical.
And we're telling you what's happening.
Yeah, we're telling you what's happening. And then Tesla went and did the other thing where they basically turned their customers into their salespeople, and if you had enough credits, you could jump the line. And so there's a lot of like stuff that's happening that makes me feel like the company doesn't really care for our business.
There you have it. We lost our shirts.
Yeah. Luckily, you guys keep watching our videos.
So we can keep our shirts on.
So we can put our shirts back on. Let us know in the comments below. Is this a first world problem? And are we just too whiny?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Too whiny Coloradoans, or do we actually have a point here? We always read your comments and we take them to heart. And go on to alltfl.com if you're curious as to what happened with our Tacoma, because that was interesting too.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Ciao.